growing up in the Catholic faith, the Eucharist was always something that I was like, oh man, I don't know if I can really get behind this, you know?
Yeah, it's hard.
But it's a pivotal point in the Catholic faith. And yeah, it's just something that I've just kind of like grown to love, not only knowing what it is, but also learning about it to share with other people.
And like you just said, pivotal point, that just made me think of how we, as Catholics, we say that it's the source and summit of our faith. And so the source being, that's how we are fed spiritually. And summit meaning like that's the highest point of, like that's the most important part of our faith. And that's the highest point of the Mass as well, right? When the consecration happens, when the body and blood turns into Jesus's, the bread and wine turns into Jesus' body and blood. And so that's like that summit part in the Mass, which I think is really awesome.
And I think it would be really silly for us to even think that it's a symbol, because otherwise, Eucharistic adoration. So if you have not done that before, you literally walk into the chapel and there's this, it's called a monstrance, but there's this beautiful like gold thing normally. Sometimes there's silver on it, but it's normally gold. And the piece of bread's in there, right? So like if we just believed that was a symbol,
we would look
that would be stupid. The weirdest prayer, like the weirdest time of prayer, to sit there and kneel before a piece of bread, right? Which I get, if you're not Catholic, like that's what it looks like to you.
Yeah.
But in Eucharistic adoration, because we believe we are in the presence of Jesus. And that's why it's so important. Like as youth ministers, that is why I will be on you. Like if we're sitting in front of Christ and you are flirting with your girlfriend or messing around with your friend or checking the sports scores, like the reason that I'm on you is because this is your time to be literally face to face. When I host a Eucharistic adoration, I 100% always invite teens to come up as close as they want, because when you're in front of adults, you don't like to do that, right? So you like sit back in the pews and then sometimes you lose your train of thought and then you're thinking about other things. But like I invite them to get as close as possible, because the closer that we can get to Christ, the more that we're putting our face in front of him, the more likely we are to be transformed and the more likely we are to enter into that prayer. But if it was a symbol, in fact, I helped at a retreat yesterday, and a senior from one of the local parishes in Toledo was talking about how her youth minister has taken her to camp now twice, to Camp Cove Crest, the Life Teen Camp in Georgia. And she said the last time they went, they were in Eucharistic adoration, and there was a teen with cerebral palsy in a wheelchair that during the Eucharistic adoration got up and walked to the Eucharist. Now tell me, if that was a symbol, if that was a piece of bread, would that happen?
Yeah.
I don't think so. So I think we have to look at the whole Catholic faith. Like I get in the moment of communion, you can kind of like think, or even like make yourself think that it's a symbol, because it's easier than to be like, I can be okay with how I'm living because this is just a symbol. But if you look at the whole Catholic faith and what we're centered on, and those types of prayer where we're literally right there with Jesus, it would be kind of silly to think that's a symbol.